But first, on Tuesday, when the federal budget is tabled, it will have been 567 days since the last budget in April 24. Other than during the pandemic, this is the longest period in history without a budget, without public scrutiny of how the government spends our tax dollars. There's no credible excuse for the delay, especially from a government that campaigned as the only party with a plan. Well, they didn't tell us that their plan included shielding tens of billions in new borrowing and spending from public scrutiny. Instead, taxpayers have got a whirlwind of announcements with virtually no details, no price tags, and what's become a feature of these kinds of announcements is that no specifics how we're going to pay for them. Well, that will change on Tuesday with the release of the budget. Or will it? For example, people will be eager to hear the forecast spending and revenue numbers. All eyes will be on the deficit projections. But come on, given the Liberal government, with many of the same players there, including the finance minister, François-Philippe Champagne, he's been in cabinet for 9 years, well, they've never made one of their deficit targets since coming to power 10 years ago. Whatever they dish up Tuesday, come on, it's got to be taken with a grain of salt. Adding to the confusion, some call it misdirection, is Prime Minister Carney's decision to split the budget into two sides, one for operations and the other for capital investment, with the government promising to balancing the operating budget in 3 years. Well, that's not tough to do. As I said right from the beginning, when Prime Minister Carney stated he was going to make that change, I said I could balance the budget, the so-called operating budget, in a day by simply moving items that were under operating expenses into the investment side. And if you think that's far-fetched, you better consider this. Liberals have consistently called the $1.4 billion given to the CBC, in quotes, an investment in culture, journalism, and regional connectivity. They called ArriveCan an investment in public safety and digital innovation. They called the GST holiday, which, by the way, Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland admitted was an unaffordable political gimmick. Well, they called it an investment in affordability. They called the infamous financial and ethical disaster Sustainable Technology Development Canada, in quotes, an investment in environmental sustainability and green jobs. All the buzzwords. And by the way, that one should remind us of the very important point that is regularly ignored, and that is, hey, nothing in the budget or spending announcement addresses whether our tax dollars or the money borrowed are going to be spent effectively. Doesn't guarantee they won't be wasted, and despite the seemingly endless examples of waste outlined by Auditor General Karen Hogan, that should be top of mind concern. But back to the list of so-called investments. They don't earn any return when the interest on the borrowing continues to compound. As George Mason economist from Quebec, Vincent Galoso says, government should stop calling all spending investment. Real investment earns a return. If it did, the private sector would already be doing it. If it doesn't, it's just spending. Call it what it is. But the big point to understand is that splitting the budget into two parts may play well politically with some, but it won't make a bit of difference to the people and institution who Canada needs to lend us the money by buying our bonds. They don't care whether the government was borrowing money for potato chips or computer chips. Their concern is straightforward. Will they get the interest they're promised for lending the money? And will they get the money back when the bond matures? And in the end, in a world awash with debt and record need to borrow, without any policy adjustments for new spending or cutbacks, we'll have to borrow a shocking $623 billion this fiscal year. And each year until 2029-30, with 76% of that for rolling over past debt, 24% for new spending and interest. Well, we'll get the specific numbers on Tuesday, but keep in mind what they're really telling us. Hey, this is a big day. I've been looking forward to this. November 1st, if you're listening on Saturday, hey, this is the day you can get your early bird tickets, and you get a discount for that to the World Outlook Conference. I'm really excited about it. Straightforward, and get the details at mikesmoneytalks.ca, mikesmoneytalks.ca. But yeah, World Outlook time, the countdown's finally on. I'm looking forward to it. The world seems to cooperate with us every year with so much to talk about. And as I say this is a business about track record. Well, the track record's been exceptional. I hope to see you there this year. Have a nice visit. I'll be talking a lot more about it, I'll warn you, but don't wait for that. As I say, you get the early bird discount now. Just simply go to mikesmoneytalks.ca. Hey, stay with us. I got Jim Thorne. You do not want to miss this. I got Carolyn Elliott. She's coming up. Of course, I've got Rob Levy. I've got Victor Adair, and I've got Ozzy Jerk, plus a Goofy Award I'm sure some people will not be particularly happy with.